Carolina This Week with Tim McGinnis.
Good morning and welcome to Carolina This Week. We are going to continue meeting the candidates who are running for Horry County Council Chairman now that Tom Rice has become the U.S. representative representing the South Carolina 7th District, which is the new district. We've heard from Mark Lazarus, we've heard from Councilman Al Allen, and now we're going to hear from former Horry County Commission Chair Liz Gilland. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Tim, for inviting me.
It's I think I had you on here before when you were the head of the commission, and now
more than once
have you on running for it.
Yeah.
So what makes you want to seek the seat again after deciding not to run the last time?
Well, I honestly felt like the Lord said walk away from it, and I wasn't ready at the time, but I knew I needed to be obedient, so I did. And then I had cancer, and I dealt with that. I dealt with that last year, caught it early. Have had good results, and as far as I'm concerned, that was last year, and I'm moving on. But I started thinking, I'm not doing enough to make a difference in the world. What do I need to do? What can I do? And I considered a lot of things, because there are a lot of good organizations that always need workers. I considered doing mission work, and it kept coming back to the thing that I have proven that I can do and that I do well is county government, and not everybody wants to. In fact, very few people want to, and a lot of folks don't do it well, and so I just figured I would give it a shot.
And I've got to ask you about the ethics violations. You were fined a pretty big sum of money by the South Carolina Ethics Commission. Don't know, but I would imagine maybe you still owe on that.
Oh, yeah. At
the same time that you'll be running for this, that might stick a craw in some voters' mouth.
It might. And all I can say is it was an outrageous fine for late paperwork. And that being said, I couldn't pay anything for a while. I had pretty overwhelming medical bills. And so I've started paying monthly, and I'm working with them to see if they'll reduce it a little bit. And I'll eventually do a fundraiser where I put on some event that people pay for tickets and see if I can't knock a dent in it that way.
Well, let's talk about some of the issues. Your successor, Tom Rice, one of his big pushes was to bring jobs to Horry County, really redoing the Economic Development Commission, turning it into the Myrtle Beach Economic Development Commission, bringing in somebody new to run it. How do you see jobs in Horry County and bringing jobs to Horry County? Do you think that was the way to go, and would you continue to support his efforts?
Well, actually, the economic development work had been completed with the new guy in before Tom got in there. So he pretty much did the same thing I did. Worked with the Economic Development Organization. I worked with NISA. I'm sure he did too. But jobs will always be a focus, I think, of whoever sits in the chairman's seat. It's just a natural.
What do you want to accomplish? What's on the agenda?
You know, I'm like most folks. The last couple of years, I truly took a break, and I didn't really pay attention. And it dawned on me. I was having a conversation the other day with someone who said, when it comes to government, the problem is nobody's watching. And I realized that I was like most folks. We're not really watching county government or state government or federal government other than reading the paper or whatever through the media. I want to be a watchdog. I want to get in there and make sure things are being done right. I did that for 16 years on council, 8 years as chair. I want to continue to work with other counties and Horry County, particularly Georgetown County, our neighbor, because the two of us together are better than each of us separate when it comes to economic development. They've got the big port, we've got the big airport. There's great potential there. I had started when I was chair having a monthly meeting with the mayors, with all the mayors, and it worked incredibly well because every single municipality that attended walked away with some benefit that affected them monetarily, because it was things they needed from the county that we figured out how we could do without it costing them any money. So that's working, you know, within Horry County. There's just there are a lot of things on the horizon. There's working with the Solid Waste Authority, who is continually having to battle our own legislators to stay independent, because what they have set up was set up on my watch, and it was the best thing for the county, and the Supreme Court has twice said it is not a monopoly, but you've got a multinational, huge organization who hands out money like candy, and legislators will take the candy and decide to change the law so that Horry County can't have what they deem a monopoly, even though the court has said it's not.
What you're talking about are those tipping fees that you basically, if you have to dump something and it's coming from Horry County, it's got to be dumped in Horry County.
Sure.
But some people who are outside of the county say, well, that's not fair, because if Horry County is charging $3 to dump and X county is charging $2 to dump, and I'm making these numbers up, why can't I go and dump it for the lesser charge?
And you're definitely making them up, because Horry County charges less per ton than anybody in the entire region, including other states. We have an amazingly low tipping fee, always have. And at the same time, with that tipping fee, we pay for all sorts of recycling efforts, with education in the schools, with advertisements on television about recycling. We do scholarship programs, and all of that comes from the $29 a ton that the charge is. So we already are low. And when they talk about we charge what we want, we charge what we need, which is less than everybody else, because we run it efficiently.
When you left county council, I guess about 2 years ago, I-73 was being talked about. Here we are 2 years later. We're still talking about I-73. We could probably come back 2 years later and we'll still be talking about I-73.
That's right.
What, from a county level, would you do to try to put the gas on the pedal?
The same thing we've been doing, we being all the leaders in the county, whether it's the Myrtle Beach Chamber or the mayors or the legislative delegation or our congressman, and that is continue to be the squeaky wheel, and eventually we're going to get the grease. I do know also, though, that there's going to be, in just a few years, we will pay off the money that we're paying out of the hospitality fee to Columbia for our Ride 1 road plan. We will probably then use a lot of those millions a year, and it's 25+ million a year. We can continue Highway 90 out to the end of the county 4-lane. We can build that with our own money that comes from the hospitality fee. We can do a lot of the preparation work that needs to be done. We can add the 6 feet on either side of 22 to make it a true interstate, because that's all it lacks. We built it to be an interstate, and 6 feet on either side of extra concrete or asphalt.
Bring it up to the federal standards.
We'll bring it up to federal standards. I think last time I asked, it was about $35 million. We could do that ourselves. So there's a lot of things that we can go ahead and do in preparation, and that will prove to the federal government, not just for Horry County, but for the state, that South Carolina is doing something. They just need us to help. And that usually says more than if you just go there with your hand out saying, we need help.
While we're talking about infrastructure and roads, Highway 501 is it's the bane of a lot of people's existence. I battle it every day. I know you probably battle it. What needs to be done? What can be done? And let's include the conversation about International Drive and Postal Way.
International Drive is on the drawing boards. The money is already being collected, and it will be built. It was supposed to be finished by the end of 2013. Over the last 2 years, I don't know what happened. But I do know that and the widening to 5 lanes of 707 and some of the road work in the South Strand will still be done. They've just had to, for whatever reason, extend that. And I'm not up to speed on why, but I know that it's already a done deal financially. So that will be done. We need to do more. We need to pay, for instance, that 3rd lane between 31 coming inland, 31 and Carolina Forest. We've got it, it's just about half a mile. That will make a huge difference, because you'll have that turn lane, and all the folks that are turning on Carolina Forest can get in that 3rd lane from where you are at the Tanger stores and just stay, because it bottlenecks. It goes from 3 lanes into 2. Pave that other little road. There's another lane going in between Carolina Forest and Postal Way. We just need to do little by little, incrementally, what we can do to make it better. And
you talked about the going down toward the South Strand, the Southern Evacuation Lifeline, and is that Southern?
No, I was talking about widening of 707 and Holmes, Glens Bay Road. That will be done, but we'll have to get back on the Southern Evacuation Lifeline. There are not funds there, but eventually there will be. We've already got the plans. We've had some of the work done. We just don't have the money to do it. Again, it's probably going to be after the focus is off of 73, which means when we get 73 committed by the federal government, because the powers that be county-wide and in other counties see 73 as more important. So once that's accomplished, and I feel certain it will be within the next eight years, then the focus will be on the evacuation route.
Last question for you. It's the last question of every candidate. Why should I vote for you?
I have the experience and a track record of running the council from the chairman's seat for 8 years. It was the most open government South Carolina has ever seen in any elected body. We went for 3.5 years one time without a single executive session because I believe in open government. I will still believe in open government. I started working with all the mayors on a monthly basis, and we made huge progress with the relationships, with the working together. I started working with Georgetown County. I know the players in this county, outside of the county, in NISA, in Columbia. The learning curve is not great for me. The council is even the same, except for Paul Price. They're the same people on council. So we already have a good working relationship. County staff is essentially the same. So I'll just pick up where I left off, and when I left off, it was in a good place. So I'll pick back up. I'll continue to do it well. Well,
Liz Gilland, candidate for her old chair, Horry County Council Chair, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it.